It's never a good thing. I always come up with something that's, well, interesting, to say the least. And, well, I've been hearing it debated in our society a lot too, of late, just recently. But I was browsing and I stumbled on it. And, well, this issue is going to require some, well, perspective, in depth perspective, to say the least. And it can be arbitrated by, well, men, not grown men. No, this has to be arbitrated by women, not by men. Men are going to have certain biases and think certain things right off the bat. This is not a purview for the male to argue. On the opposite side, this is a purview argument for the female, the woman. And it's one about bonds, building bonds, and, well, establishing relationships and building relationships. You know, there might be more research that needs to happen, more science in nature. It needs to tell us, well, what the relationship is and what the bond is like between, well, a mother and her son. You know, it's a very interesting, well, issue we have in our society nowadays of, well, domestic violence and, just overall disrespect towards women. And that's predominantly by males. And, well, the common wisdom has been, well, that's because, well, raising, upraising. It all comes back to upraising. How you raise somebody. And I mean, it's not indicative of everything because you have, well, societal issues that are structural outside. So you can raise somebody perfect and they can end up still deviating. So you can't totally say it's about upraising. But upraising is important. And, well, a lot of Western traditions, they go back and forth. But what they do stay consistent on is, well, the mother and son relationship, well, it should be just like the father and son relationship. It should be, well, two parents on the same page. They must be identical. Well, wait a minute. What do you have two parents for if they're going to do everything identical? They're always going to agree. That's not smart. Nor is it fun. No, there's got to be some deviation. There's got to be some, well, things that mommy does different than daddy. And, well, one thing that's a hot button nowadays is, well, moms being in the buff with their little boys. And, well, a lot of conservatives, it's rubbing them the wrong way. Mommy shouldn't be in the buff with her little boy. No, mommy should wear clothes around her little boy. Because, well, she can't show her nudity. Now, let me push back a little bit. Because you're arguing from the perspective of an adult. Adults, that where your brain is fully developed. So, of course, your argument is going to be, well, sexual in nature. Because, well, you've developed that as part of your brain now that you're an adult. But a child doesn't understand that concept yet. The understanding is just bonding and building relationships. And, well, bonding and building relationships with something that's different than what they are. And, well, you don't want to sever that bond too quickly. Because if you do, it ends up being very toxic for the male. Have you heard of toxic masculinity? You know, you can have two hard rebels, drill sergeants, going at the child, and there's no deviation. What you're going to have is, well, anger, frustration. You know, at some point you got to start thinking about breaking these generational curses that, well, whole swaths of people are under. And, well, you don't break generational curses, well, without doing things dramatic. No. And now, the story went that there was a mother who reached out and posted anonymously back in 2016 about, well, whether anybody thought that it was normal or appropriate. That's really what she was trying to glean. Norms and expectations. That's usually what everybody's trying to glean, even if they don't come out and say it. She was wondering if it was appropriate for her to still be, well, in the bed, sleeping naked with her son at the age of 16. And well, a lot of people just thought that she was trolling. She was like, this can't be true. She can't be serious about this. Well, one person said that the child could maybe have medical issues. That would be a legitimate reason why, well, the mother would be in the bed naked with her 16-year-old son. But then a lot of people said, well, they went back to their sex mind. And well, remember, at 16, you're not fully developed. A lot of consensus said that 10 is the cutoff age. You shouldn't sleep with any parent past 10, is what they said. Now, we know that's stupidity, but we're talking about mothers in particular with their sons. I actually disagree with the age of 10. I think it's well too soon for a mother and son to cut off their bond at 10. No. And I think 16 is, well, not a bad number. I don't think 16 is bad at all. Actually, I would go up. It shouldn't be, well into your 23 or maybe 24 that you're not sleeping in the nude with your mother. Because, well, you don't fully develop until 27. And, well, I shaved off 3 years. So, I wouldn't have an issue if somebody was sleeping with their mother at the age of 24. I wouldn't. Because you're talking about a bond in a relationship. And this is how you're going to treat, if you're heterosexual woman. And even if you're homosexual, it's the bond that you form, the relationship, of how you'll treat another man. Or, well, how you'll treat an animal. Or anything else in society. You know? You spend 9 months in your mother's womb. You come out. That's a long time. Think about it. 9 months in total. And you want to cut the bond at 10 years of age. No. You gotta go higher. So 23 or 24, I'm fine with it. I know there's no science behind it. But well, I'm a critical owl. And I think critically. And well, sometimes the science is slow. And you gotta throw a lot of different things out there. But then eventually the science catches up.